Are you gonna explain it on the cast? Is that what's happening?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really dumb.
Okay.
I'm regretting it already, but
You look pretty uncomfortable.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the second episode of 2019 for the GeekVerse podcast. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Wink,
I'm the Crash Team Racing Trask now. I'm gonna pull Taylor nickname and just say a title and use his mid nickname.
I'm the Adam Caster, Dylan Muss.
I'm the mystery man, Tyler Briggs.
Boom.
Boom.
I bet for that whole 30
Didn't see it
seconds.
No,
Sorry, for that whole 44 seconds, you were wondering who was this man over
We
here.
didn't actually know. Me and
No.
Trevor sat down and there was this guy sitting in this chair.
He's like, "Where's Tyler?"
I was actually here before Travis even got home today.
Right.
Yeah, it was
I was
crazy.
in his house all day.
Cool. What was it like? Good?
It was really strange.
Yeah.
I've been home all day, so it's kind of.
I didn't leave this room.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting to get out.
Are you pretty hungry or did you bring like a cheese
I
pack platter or
had
something?
a couple cheese packs.
Couple cheese packs. That's a new thing in such
A
rings.
cheese pack? Like, just like pre-sliced for sandwiches kind
Yeah,
of?
you know,
Yeah.
it's like, but it's not like the crappy cheese, you know.
No, like
No,
rabbit
like-
cheese.
No, it's like a
Like
block.
that
It's
burger
like someone
slice?
took like a block of cheese
Right.
and then they just cut it into like 2 slices and
Uh-huh.
then they packaged it.
Right.
And then I had like 10 of those.
You had 10 of those? I feel bad for your stomach right now.
I mean,
My stomach would not handle that much.
it's unconscious right now.
Your
So,
stomach
yeah.
is? Wow, it was conscious to begin with?
It
Cool.
sure was.
2019, nothing's changed, as you can see. As Kirkland said, best year yet. You know, that's our motto for 2019. And also, I'm not going to pull out right now, but I think it was for our Fantastic Beasts review. We got, of course, a new negative review on Podbay.
Love
And they're like, and they didn't even know they were recording like 2 minutes before they even got to the review. How amateurs are these guys? If you haven't caught on over the past like 3.5 years, that's what we do. That's like a little
We like
inside.
to use a little bit of banter.
Yeah, we little band, and then we get into it.
Unless
It's a little
there's nothing
foreplay.
of interest.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
I delete it.
Yeah,
But if it's
exactly.
funny, then I'll leave it.
It's not that we've left. Oh man, we don't know how to edit, or we've left it recording. Like I got a good laugh. Oh, Podbay, just our biggest haters, you know. But
Yeah, they never give us a shot.
you know, what we're hopefully not gonna hate is the 20. Oh,
They give us consistent content.
Right.
Well, yeah, they are consistent with how they feel about this. So you know,
Mhm.
we're never surprised.
I feel like it's
so.
just one person. And he just like gets a random new username every week or something.
That's I hate that because it's only an American service where we can't respond.
Yeah, I know.
I would love to talk to so many of
Oh.
them in a good way, in a trolling way, you know. But
Oh, man.
There you go.
But you know what I'd love to do is play all these 2019 games, hopefully,
man, me
because
too.
just like the 2019 movie preview, we are going to... This is going to work a bit differently because lots of these games don't have release dates, so I have a list of the biggest games, and Dylan also has a list because Dylan was like, you forgot this. So,
It was
you
a
know,
bad list, okay?
I don't think
read
so.
through this list and I was like, there's missing at least 10 things here.
I think Dylan shot out 2 games where it's like, okay, that's valid, but the rest of them were like, you know, Splunky Madness 889, 99.
I will disagree. There is a few indie games that, of course, there's no indie games on that list.
Yeah.
But, you know, it didn't even have, like, Animal Crossing or Fire Emblem. It's like, what? You need those. Those are
I
big
have those
games,
on the
right?
list.
Those are big games coming to the Switch, which is, you know,
They're games.
well
Is
some
Fire
console.
Emblem confirmed though for 2019? Like confirmed?
Uh,
Because they announced that like 3 years ago.
I think so.
Yeah.
I feel like if it's not confirmed 2019, it's fair to not have it on the list.
Well, that's a little debate, but so it's not gonna work the same way. I'm just gonna go down this list that I have from Den of Geek. It has it in alphabetical order, so that's what we're gonna do because lots of these games don't have official release dates. It's like Q1, Q2 this. So I got most of the popular games, and then if I'm missing any, Dylan will shout them out. Let's start with a game that I'm sure we can't wait to talk about. We're all dying to play it. These trailers have got us going. Anthem coming out February 22nd.
no.
Unfortunately, Kirkland is sick and Taylor's busy with school, so I don't think Kirkland had anything to say about this game. But Taylor, big fan of this game, so I'll say for him he's very excited. I think it's a day one purchase. For me, I liked the reveal, but when it revealed that it feels like it's kind of like a Destiny light in a way where you're kind of online and it's like there's a story with all your friends and players, and it's like so there's like you know a couple logs and there's a couple like 3 cutscenes that are the story to me, you know. And even what I've seen of the story, I don't really like the world. I feel like it's like a discount like sci-fi world, which is weird because it's a video game. You create your own world, but that's what it feels like. It feels like a sci-fi movie that's on like the lower budget spectrum. So this isn't for me. I will not be checking it out, but I'm sure if Taylor gets it, there'll be a review on our channel. So
I think for me it looks like it has like some cool exploration elements to the game. Like it's very vertical. Obviously your character kind of has like an exosuit or something. You get like a jetpack. It seems like is kind of just part of your character. So that's usually fun.
yeah.
And because of that, yeah, the world is like from what the gameplay I've seen is like pretty expansive, and the fights as well are like there's a lot to them. Like they're very spacious.
Big scope.
Yeah, so there's definitely some cool elements, but I agree that there hasn't really been much of the story that's gripping for me. And I mean, just shooters in general. Like I don't know. I don't buy games these days that are like shooter primarily and like other factors second. So I don't know. It's not particularly for me. It's one that's still on my radar. There's too many games, like particularly in February, that I'll be playing. So there's no way I'm gonna get this on release. But this is definitely one of those games that who knows down the road, like if it still has a community going for it. Because if it is focused on online, that's also a thing, right? If you're not getting it on release, then like when are you gonna get it? Because the quality of it might just decrease if you don't have anyone to play with. So I don't know. It's an interesting game. I'm curious to see like what people think of it, because I still remember how funny it was when that was revealed at Xbox. I was like, wow, check out this new big exclusive. How cool is this looking? Yeah, it looked really cool. And it's like, just first on Xbox. Or not even first on Xbox. Just announced that during the Xbox conference.
The thing before you go, Briggs, is what I'm also excited about is this is BioWare's game. Obviously, a few years ago, Mass Effect Andromeda really shit the bed there. Everyone's really excited. That came out, lots of glitches, lots of people complaining that it's not as good as the last ones. Blah, blah. So I'm excited to see, is this a game that can get them back up there? Or is this going to kind of be another strike against them and fans will start losing? Because I know they're also making another Dragon Age, right? Because they announced that at the Game Awards, I'm pretty sure. So the thing is, you have Mass Effect, big franchise that didn't go well. You have a new franchise coming up. Those both don't do well. I'm excited. Well, I'm not excited. I hope they do well for people that like them. But I'm interested to see if Anthem is not received that well, how that affects Dragon Age. I'll talk about later with like maybe Starfield. But that's the same thing where it's like with BioWare, they're kind of on rocky ground right now. So I hope for them it's a big hit. But if not, they kind of put Dragon Age in an awkward position where it has to be a great game. And people
it kind of feels like Andromeda was maybe just kind of put out there because the trilogy was so successful, and maybe they wanted to get some last pennies out of people before they moved on to like other series, primarily Anthem here, or going back to Dragon Age.
Yeah. For me, it looked really cool in concept. I don't have a whole lot of faith in practice, how it's going to do. It just looks like there's... I don't know, it looks like they're trying to make it seem like there's a lot to do, but I feel like it's going to be very basic. It feels, as you said, like it's going to be their Destiny sort of thing. And it just seems like it's just going to follow that classic formula. I don't think they're doing anything new. Yeah. It's going to be grind, upgrade your exosuit, go fight bigger monsters with more health while you do more damage. And a classic loop, which is fine for some people, but I don't think they're really bringing anything new except for the exosuit kind of idea, which I could see being a big seller for some people. Some people are like, oh sweet, that's a really cool concept that I want to explore in this game. But I feel like they haven't really got anything that someone who isn't already interested in that kind of genre, they don't have anything that's really gonna hook me, anything new that I can't get from something else that might be cheaper, that might already be out.
Right.
So I just there isn't anything that really excites me about this game, aside from the potential, but I'm not gonna get excited on something maybe being good. I'm gonna definitely wait to see
too, because I think Mass Effect was so popular and successful. Well, one, because like the games were very interconnected between like 1, 2, and 3, but also just those RPG elements of it, and that you actually like felt like there was a story that was moving and evolving around you. Whereas if the story is like less their focus this time, and instead they're focusing on gunplay, then I don't know. We've seen that change before. That's kind of what Bethesda's been doing over time as well, actually, and I think it's resulted in just a different type of game. So I don't even know if like the Mass Effect fans are going to come into this and be excited, right? It seems like they're just targeting a new market, or they're just going for more mass appeal as opposed to Mass Effect appeal.
I guess the way I would sum it up, it would be, it seems very surface level. There hasn't been anything that they've shown there's more to it than just going around in mech suits and fighting monsters. So for me, at least, in a game, I'd like there to be a bit more to it, a little bit more depth to it, and they just, despite having over a year to show stuff for the game, everything's felt very surface level.
I guess it has been a year's last.
I'm taking my jacket off now after we talk about the first game. Not to reveal anything, it's just I was very cold when I walked in, and now I'm slightly less cold.
Taylor's in the jacket. I've actually found a way to put some of these in order. So that was in February, so I'm jumping back to January. So, and I'm just shouting big ones. New Super Mario Bros. Deluxe is coming to Switch.
Really? Okay.
Mhm.
Is that like a?
I think it's just the Wii U one, like the
Oh, okay.
side scroller adventure.
Right. I guess if it was a new game, I probably would have known about this.
Mm-hmm. Resident Evil 2 remakes coming
Wait,
out.
was that the one that was like the more 3D sort of?
Yeah. That they did with the Wii first, and then they did Wii U, and they also did a Luigi version, which
Does the deluxe
Right.
have the Mario and Luigi one combined?
I
Or
don't
is it
know for
only called
sure.
deluxe because they're releasing
It's
it on Switch?
highlighted, so let's see what
I've done
happens.
this before. Mario
Let me
Kart,
see
I'm
what-
looking at you.
Let me see what happens if I
Yeah,
click
new
on
content.
it.
Something.
I don't think so. No,
Okay.
doesn't look like. it.
Classic Luigi, always getting the shaft.
Yeah. And then Resident Evil 2 remake's coming out. I know people are probably excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably check that out at some point in my life. I was a Resident Evil fan back in the day, but I won't be anytime.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kingdom Hearts 3 is running out in January. I'm not playing this game because I'm a big fan of it. I'm just going to wait because it's just been delayed so long. What I've seen of it doesn't look the greatest for a 2019 game. And
Yeah.
it's a game that I think I'll definitely play. I liked those games as a child, but I think I would wait for it not to be an $80 game. So
Yeah, no, that one's definitely aged. It's overcooked at this point.
Yeah.
I think the people who played the originals are too old now to have as much nostalgia as they might have, and the people who are just getting into it don't want to go back and play the first two.
there's a Frozen world in it though, Briggs. You can team what else.
Yeah, but that's
You
not.
love Frozen.
I sure do, but it's not.
There's a
it's
Wreck-It
not
At one
Ralph
point, you
world.
can pick up your mic and sing along.
There's a Wreck-It Ralph world. For me, there's Toy Story. So
Wreck-It Ralph world, that could be cool. Is that going to include stuff from the second, from Break the Internet, or
I
just
doubt it. Probably the first one. It's intended
that would
to new
they just
stuff.
like delay the game another 2 years
Yeah.
so they can add that content in there?
Gotta add that goat meme. Jumping into February, I know you guys talked about them before. I've downloaded but never played Trials Rising. A new Trials game's coming out in February.
Yeah, I mean those are cool games. They seem to come out like every year at this point. They're just pumping out another one. I played the one that was free on PS Plus a few months ago, and I don't think I liked it quite as much as the old ones. Well, I think one of the big selling points was that there was multiplayer to it. You could play with your friends, like split screen, but it was like kind of silly because it was only on one screen, and everyone shared the one screen. So if you like got ahead of the person, it would kick them off, and like they would respawn kind of at the next checkpoint close to you.
Okay.
Which is a horrible system for a racing game, like a physics game like that, in my humble opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. They're fun games, but like there's just so many of them at this point that I don't really feel like what are they gonna add? Right?
Yeah.
It's just like
what
they can do like creative stuff with
The
levels.
physics might be a little bit more.
Exactly. That was kind of like the one like the new one at some point. It was just like, okay, now it's outside because Trials HD was just like all kind of like in a warehouse and stuff, and that was like the big selling point was we're outside, but it's still the same gameplay, which is fun, but yeah, not something you need to shell out dollars every year for. It's it's like it's kind of like the sports games at this point too, right? You can skip them every once in a while and then pick up one every once in a while. What is that new one called?
Trials Rising.
Rising.
Coming to the Switch.
Cool.
So there you go.
Cool.
Brings you
I hope it doesn't have like gyroscope controls.
Get the Switch wheel.
I'd probably buy it.
Okay.
I'm not gonna spend money on that.
Talking about infamous games delayed, Crackdown 3 coming February 15th.
Oh, Crackdown.
Yeah, I think this game is gonna bomb big time because there's actually lots of games coming out in February. I think it's lost so much faith, whether it's fans or just critics. People I don't hear anyone talking anything positive other than I'm happy Terry Crews is in the game.
Yeah.
This is a game. I've always said that I've never been a Crackdown fan, so this had to sell me, and it definitely didn't sell me from the very first trailer we saw about 2 years ago now, and then it's kept getting delayed. Maybe it was only 1 year, but still, it's been getting delayed, and what I've seen has not looked good. So I will, I'll ask him how it is if he plays it on Xbox Game Pass. That's a good thing.
He will, right? It's going directly to Game Pass
it's one of those
free right away,
launches,
which is worrying to me. It shows that they don't have confidence in the game doing well on its own. And instead, get people playing it right away.
To be devil's advocate, it does seem like they're putting almost all new games on Game Pass now, right? So it has been like the only thing we haven't.
I guess they don't have any other big exclusives, so that's
because Gears has also come to Game Pass, so they're really they are trying to make it their preference thing, but I don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Like I feel like you can do that. Like maybe even try like a couple months after the game comes out.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how that would affect sales if people would just say like I'm not gonna buy it because it's coming to Game Pass. But that's interesting. But I don't know. It's too bad because the first Crackdown is a very fun place. in my heart. It's probably like I replayed it a couple years ago, and it's still like one of my favorite games. Somewhere in my top 20, top 15. I fucking love that game so much. Never played the second one, and third one. It doesn't look like visually. It doesn't look that good, which I think is kind of a.
It's like Kingdom Hearts.
It's
It
kind of
looks
like
another era.
It's kind of like a selling point. Like even when you see GTA, like when you see like GTA 5, GTA 4. One thing I always find so cool about those new games is that like there's lots of little details. Like just that people walking in the streets are like. Maybe they have a coffee in their hands or they're like smoking a cigarette. Just little things that like add realism and obviously fill it up with really nice graphics to back it up. But Crackdown 3 doesn't really have that. And I think one thing the first game had was so cool was the like cell shaded effect to it, which is kind of like the Borderlands look. And it did that like before Borderlands came out, and it worked really well. And I think that's why they like you go back and play that game. I still think it looks pretty good because it had such a distinct style.
Yeah.
I don't know why they ever abandoned that. I think it looked great and fit the game perfectly. It's too bad. I like Crackdown, but I really hope that Taylor does download this and I can go over and try it out because I'd love to just mess around, jump around the city, and it's always fun like just being a super soldier cop in like these kind of games. You don't really get to do that anywhere else, so it's a fun twist on like those kind of open world city games.
Mm-hmm. This one has pretty much lost me. It's just been so long again. I remember playing, I think it was the first Crackdown. I hardly even played it. I mostly just like watched my friends play it or my brother play it or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, this looks super cool. But then I kind of moved on to other games, and then it's way too late. And it's unfortunate that it got stuck in whatever developer hell it was in.
Development.
But it's just one of those things that they're just pushing it for the sake of pushing it rather than maybe just like, maybe this isn't so great, we'll just kill it. But I don't know. I Terry Crews is pretty cool. I'm sure that's got some people excited. But I feel like it's like at the point of where Crackdown 3 is at, it's just sort of like cringy almost to see him in there.
That's fair enough. Yeah.
So I don't know. It just like come on. Like I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it's gonna work for me, and it feels like it's not gonna work for very well at all. And then they just throw in like Terry Crews as a last ditch effort. It feels like, and it's just like I don't know. It hurts a little bit. Hurts me on the inside.
Poor Xbox fans is what they got.
I did not know this game was also coming out February 15th. Jump Force, which we saw reveal that
the fighting
E3.
game.
Yeah,
anime
E3. Yeah, I'm surprised by that. If that is correct, February even 12th. This site has it listed.
That kind of surprising for me too, because I haven't like heard of that game since E3.
4 hours ago, there was a reveal of My Hero Macadamia.
Yeah, I don't think they've had too much.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Too much news, but I think they've been kind of maybe not on our news channels, but they have been quietly adding like characters to the cast, and I guess close to the release date, they're revealing more characters that they'll have.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it seems like it's. I'm pretty excited to see.
Any
how it does.
like new cool ones that you've noticed?
Like
from your
the My Hero Academia one.
That's kind of like the big one.
They had Dragon Ball Z character recently, and they revealed. I haven't been keeping up with too much, but it's something that maybe if they have a big reveal or a trailer drops, or if they.
We got a lot of people in the game, the roster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it seems like just like that big mishmash sort of Smash Bros of anime kind of.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah. So you got Naruto in there.
Go down. Do Yu-Gi-Oh one?
Dragon Ball, Fist of North Star, City Hunters.
Oh man,
so
sounds cool.
Yeah,
they got a lot of stuff. So
I'm excited for the game, but again,
that's like a big roster.
Yeah,
it all comes down to
release.
gameplay. Like gameplay needs to be killer for this.
Yeah,
because the roster isn't going to mean anything if it's not.
Yeah, I'm potentially down for that game. That's pretty good.
It does look pretty cool.
Were you disappointed that none of the Death Note characters are going to be playable?
Really, they're not.
No, they're just in the story, involved in the story.
That's a lie. You have to unlock them at some point. That makes no sense. Why would you do that?
I don't know. I feel like
if you have the rights to use a Death Note character, how would you not make them a playable character?
Ryuk would be a pretty good playable character at least.
Who?
But Ryuk.
Oh right. I think I said Ryu.
Or Light.
Willem Dafoe, remember? As he was in the Great American Adaptation.
I know.
The Apple.
I feel like those are very like iconic characters for anime people.
Guess you're
going
going
to
have
have
to
them
play.
Not iconic enough.
Clearly.
February 15th, also Metro Exodus. Obviously, Briggs, you're a big fan. I got nothing to add other than the trailers look good, but I will not be playing it.
That's kind of where I'm at on this one because I was playing through some of the first Metro. I got like on Steam. There's a Steam sale or something I don't know, maybe it wasn't Steam, but anyway, I got the
There was
first.
a sale somewhere.
There's a sale
Hey, caught
somewhere,
the
so I
game.
have the first two now. And I was playing through the first one. I'd probably put like 2 or 3 hours into it, and I was not liking it like at all. At no point was I really into it. I guess like there's some cool stuff in the story, but it happens so infrequently, and to get there you have to trudge through some really bad like combat and really clunky controls. Yeah, this one I'm gonna pass on this one. Also, because this week I have another game I'm gonna talk about, but I'm already busy in February with another game, so yeah, there's no way I'm playing this one on release. But I mean,
I don't know if I have that game on this list, so you'll have to inform me after the next
yeah,
one.
I feel like all my problems with the first one are probably things that are figured out by now in terms of like having like smoother, better combat. I think the story is a big thing, and the story was just a little too slow, and the characters weren't interesting enough on their own for me in the first one to ever feel like gripped into it. So
yeah,
that's kind of where I'm at.
Okay. I haven't played the Metros in a long time. I played the first one like a couple years after it came out, I feel like, and then the second one I played pretty much on release. And I loved the first one when I first played through it. Second one again, I loved it when I played through it. And then, so I'm really interested in this one. I'm probably not going to buy it day one, but I'll check out the reviews and probably pick it up if it goes on sale shortly after, or if it doesn't, maybe I'll pick it up anyways. But I can definitely say I went to go back and play the first one alongside Dylan, and I actually stopped playing because for whatever reason the frame, like there was something messed up with the game and how it worked with my computer, so I just couldn't play because the frame rate was terrible.
Yeah. But
I definitely see how it's very dated at this point. I think back in the day it held up a lot better, but nowadays compared to what you get, it did not age very well. I can say that confidently. I think the second one would probably still be decent. So, but it doesn't really rely too much on the first one's story, I guess. So, I mean, I'd say
I don't know.
I'd say give the
like
second
a
one a try.
continuation, or is it like new characters?
Sort of, but it's like a different plot.
Okay.
I think same characters, but
Separate timeline.
new kind of plot sort of deal. But yeah, no, I'm definitely excited for this game. It looks really cool that you're kind of doing more above ground stuff. It seems like after the events of the first two, things have kind of settled down, and you kind of go outside a little bit rather than just deep dark tunnels. So
there's actually some color in the game.
Yeah, they look not really. It just seems like gray, ashy, and maybe some greens. But
I think I saw some green. I remember some green.
I think so.
Grass
So I'm excited for it to see what happens with it. I'll probably pick it up eventually, just for the sake of completing the series. But it's definitely on. It's been a while since the second one, so it's again kind of like maybe it's like moved away from the feel. Maybe they're going for a different style of game. And it could just completely butcher the experience that you were expecting after the first two. So we'll have to see. Again, I'm very skeptical about this.
We just talked about this honestly last week, but obviously this will be coming out in 2019, so it could be new for listeners. Far Cry New Dawn. I'll give a quick little rundown because like I said, if you're a regular listener, we can talk about this, but if not, it was revealed a little before Game Awards, and you got your full trailer revealed there. I said this before, it's always a game I feel like we always want to play, but we never get around to. This was the first one that I didn't actually feel like I wanted to play. It felt like more of the same as the last one, which was kind of disappointing because when they did Far Cry Primal, that looked like something new and fresh that I really want to try, and I still haven't tried that one, but this is a game that didn't even float my boat this time, and I'll just still be playing Red Dead Online, so yeah, not going to be going into my wallet.
You perfectly described my feelings as well.
Is this like this Aladdin again in the movie?
I think that was just like GeekVerse as a whole. Like you just explained how we as one person feel.
That's the one. We don't have many things in common. All of us in the same, but we like the MCU and we like Far Cry, but we're not gonna buy it. Briggs, you have anything you want to
add? A little bit different from you guys actually. I'm kind of excited. There's a very high chance I won't buy this.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Briggs is not gonna buy this.
Probably 100%. Not. But I have very fond memories of Far Cry 3, and this one, ever since Far Cry 3, all the other Far Cries have felt like different enough that I'm like, maybe not for me. But this one has felt like the most similar to it, just like in looks, it's like super vibrant, but like very, yet very like kind of messed up and violent kind of thing. So I really like that kind of contrast in certain games. It doesn't work for everything, some games. But Far Cry seems to fit that like really dark and gritty and violent and kind of messed up, but also just like super bright and like everything looks really cool.
On like
and
a tropical island.
Yeah, it just doesn't fit like the actual feel of the game, but that contrast is great. And so I think this one, I want to see more of it, and if there's enough that I like, then I would like to get it. And I mean, it always has that kind of like post-apocalyptic kind of vibe, which I'm always into, considering they're literally just like nukes went off apparently from Far Cry 5. So maybe I'll want to play Far Cry 5, so it all makes sense to me. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just read the synopsis on Wikipedia, but it has the most intrigue for me since Far Cry 3. So I'm kind of interested. We'll see where it goes.
Very nice.
Do you want to say the game you want to show in February? Because I'm not sure exactly.
Yeah, it's I think it comes out February 12th or maybe it's 15th, but it's that same week as well. It's Outward, which is the game I've mentioned a few times now. It's from a indie team. I think there's like probably less than 10 developers making it, but it's essentially an open world RPG set in like a high fantasy setting. It's a game I've been following for like 2 or 3 years now. When I first saw it, it just there was some appeal to it that just instantly had me, and I think the devs have been going for like a lot of elements of like what I love about Morrowind seem to be reciprocated in this game. A lot of RPG elements and like the decisions they're making in the story are actually have an impact on the world and different endings and things like that. A big map that you can explore and lots of dungeons and things like that. I was watching a stream actually. One of the devs was like playing, just like answering some questions and stuff, and he was in some dungeon like trying to solve a puzzle, and like he like couldn't figure it out, and so it gives me like good. That's a good sign if the dev can't like figure out how to solve his own puzzle. So I'm guessing that it'll have a good amount of depth to it. The combat looks like not slower, but like you have to be more thoughtful because you actually have like swing time on your weapons and stuff. And like the magic system is more like ritual based, so you can't just like spam fireballs endlessly. Like you have to take your time and like plan stuff out for each fight and things like that. And then it also features online and split screen co-op, which is pretty unheard of in games like this. So it's a game that I'm really looking forward to. It's pretty unfortunate to see when it comes out because there's a lot of other games in there that I think a lot of people are gonna. There isn't like any other high fantasy games necessarily, but I think there's a lot of other games that people are gonna. There's a lot of people are gonna be taken away to play those more big AAA games. I'm not sure how much this game's gonna be on release, but I'm a little fearful for it. But please, like anyone, it's called Outward. Go check it out. You can go in their Discord. The devs are super active in there. You can ask them questions. They're really funny guys. They're cool people. So I'm super excited. This is a game I've been waiting for a long time, and that's what I'm going to be playing in February, and I'm super excited for it.
March, Devil May Cry 5. I've never been into the franchise, and I'm not going to be getting into it now.
Boom. Yeah, I've never played one of these games either, actually. Like, I don't know why. I think there isn't really like an appeal, like just based on like just visually watching it, like the kind of gameplay doesn't really seem like it's for me, but I just feel like as well, like none of my like friends growing up and such, like no one's ever just like been buzzing about it. No one's ever told me, hey, you gotta play this, or I've never been at a friend's house and they were playing it or something.
Yeah.
It's one that's just slipped past the radar in my entire life, so I'm unfortunate I don't have much to say about Mr. Devil May Cry.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same way. Cool piece of info about these games is there's like pre-order editions where you could get not custom made, but like individually made of their jackets or like capes or whatever the characters were wearing, and it was like $7,000 for the pre-order, but it's literally like a replica of what they're wearing in the game, and it's like actually good quality. I just would hope it's good quality or whatnot. Yeah. I might be
not those like canvas bags that Bethesda was sending out.
I might not be quite on the price, but I'm pretty sure I read somewhere it's like $7,000, and you get to pick. There's like a different version for each of the main characters, but
this is not as far back as I wanted.
Did it break, or
I don't know.
Is it on like loose mode?
I've been trying to figure out.
Travis has fallen out of his chair, by the way.
Because I've been like wanting to lean back a bit because my back was hurting, and then I wasn't doing it at all, and then that just felt like I was about to die.
That's a weird spot for a crank for your chair. Like normally it's on the side or something. You have something nice, but his is like directly underneath. You have to milk it like a cow.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I haven't fully figured out. I feel like in Austin Powers and Dr. Evil's in his chair and he can't like.
He's trying to spin. And he's going past. Yeah.
Another game coming out in March. Tom Clancy's The Division 2. I was interested in the first one, but then I kind of found the same thing. Kind of that Anthem, Destiny. I know it's different, but saying that online kind of mode, which disappointed me because that very first revealed that the Division looked fantastic from a story point of view of like how these people caught the disease during Boxing Day or Black Friday or something like that. The story looked really good, and then when you got into it, it sounds like the story is more on the sidelines. So yeah, I won't be getting into this. Taylor's a big fan, so I think there'll probably be a review of some sort on our channel at some point. But same thing, I won't be jumping in it. If there was a year of games that I had no interest in, then sure, but there's games that I am interested in, you know? So
There's so many games.
yeah, so unfortunately it's not going to be pull me in.
One on clue.
Yeah, not a huge fan of. I mean, I feel like it's been happening for a while, but just like these like massively online games, but then you release like a new one every couple of years rather than just like releasing added content onto the original. It just seems like a strange concept.
I mean, when did
after
Division
like,
come out? It came out like 4 years ago.
I mean, it was a
5
while
years ago.
back, but I don't know. Just seeing like how successful like World of Warcraft is or something where it's like it's just the same game, and then you just add expansions to it, sort of, and to see like them take that MMO formula, but then you just come out with a new MMO every couple of years, and you have to discard the old one.
Right.
It just seems like
they have like the games for service set up, but then they're just making it.
but then you have to buy that new service every couple of years, so
yeah, that's weird.
it just seems like it's not a huge. I'm not a fan of it, so I won't support that. And I just don't have an interest in this game after seeing what kind of happened with the first one.
I feel like most games I am interested in are games that I can see like still having some like ability to play it within a few years. Whereas I feel like a Division, like particularly when the Division 2 comes out, like what are you gonna do in Division 1? Like most of your player base is gonna be gone.
100%. They're no longer releasing any content.
And then eventually down the road they're gonna cut the servers and like what, and then you don't have that game anymore. So I don't know. There's something about that idea for like a game like this that just doesn't sit right with me. And it also takes the buzz away. Like if you're not gonna get it on release, then I think you're missing out big time. Where there's a lot of games like I couldn't play God of War when it came out, but whenever you get to it, you're gonna still have the same experience.
Story's the same, as long as you don't get spoiled. But
I gotta apologize, I got mint in my mouth now because this chair, I used to have sour apple spray on it because my old dog Heisenberg used to chair it or chew it, and I got some in my hand, I put some in my mouth, so my mouth
why'd you put your hand
I
in your
just
mouth?
scratched something on my lip and it's that strong, but it didn't stop him. It was quite annoying. So yeah, I'm a mess right now between this chair and my mouth.
You need a new chair. This chair right there.
No, I'm gonna.
I would recommend that chair.
I don't like.
I will stand and you can use my.
No, I'm fine.
You might not like that chair, but
it's not gonna break. It's an awkward position.
It looks very awkward.
But I'm gonna figure it out.
You feel like you're thrown off your game?
No. April. This got revealed not too long ago. Mortal Kombat 11. I feel like I'm retreading again because we talked about this recently, but I'm a fan of it. I think it's the same thing as much higher than Division, but it just always comes at a time where I want to be playing games, and there's 2 games potentially I could be playing, which I'll wait until we get to them, but yeah, I don't know. It all depends. I didn't know it was coming to Switch, so good for them. Yeah, Mortal Kombat, I'm excited for them. I've always loved those games, but it's kind of been a here-there purchase. I've never like a diehard where I get every single one, but yeah, it looked great from what I saw, and I think they always produce quality fighting games, so I think you know what you're going to get. So
yeah, obviously I'm a Smash Bros. Kind of guy. Go check out our Smash Ultimate review, but for the traditional fighting games, the one that's always interested me the most is Mortal Kombat. And I always feel like I'm close to taking that leap. I think I would have got the most recent one, but I just heard that the PC version was just a mess. And so I never ended up getting. I guess I could have gotten PS4, but
yeah.
Anyway, that was kind of something dissuading me from that one. But well, actually, so this one actually kind of depends because Jump Force is now looking very intriguing to me.
Yeah.
So if I end up getting that, then no bueno to Mortal Kombat. But I think one of those it'd be fun. I think it'd be good for me to jump into a traditional fighting game. Maybe I'd learn a lot that could apply to Smash as well.
Yeah. Mortal Kombat, it's always been like a cool thing for me to watch. I've never really enjoyed playing it. I've just like, when it comes to traditional fighting games, it's like, it's too much for me to handle at once. So like a platform fighter such as Smash, where there's a lot more movement and there's a lot more dynamic, it feels like. Don't want to like throw shade at traditional fighting games not having good movement and not being dynamic, but for the games I like to play, it just feels a lot less clunky, I guess. Maybe it's just my experience with older fighting games. They kind of feel clunky, and I don't like the idea of having to memorize like a combination of button inputs just to do one move.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
You
that's
come back,
always
2 weeks
throwing me
later.
off.
And, like,
Yeah.
just
So
forget.
for those games, it's like, for me at least, the way I look at it, if I'm not gonna put in like a huge amount of time to be really good at this, I don't really want to put in like the minimal amount because you're just not getting the full experience.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's always been something. Whenever new Mortal Kombat comes out, I'm just like, I just like go on YouTube, watch all like the cool moves and executions and like the fatalities. I'm like, those are really cool. It was awesome to watch. And then I'll watch like a fighting game stream when the game comes out. And I really like watching high level play of these games. But as far as playing the game, for me, it's just not for me. It never really feels natural, I guess.
Yeah.
So I always just I'm content to sit on the sidelines and watch people who are good at these games play.
April, the game I'd have to say I'm probably most intrigued about coming out, don't try to peek there, Dylan, in 2019 is Days Gone. So this is a game, got revealed, did it get revealed during the greatest conference of all time?
Mm-hmm.
So it did, so that's...
The day that changed history forever.
So that's 2-3 years ago now, right? That's
3 years.
Yeah, 3 years.
ago.
That's 3 years ago. Wow, it was our first year.
All those games have come out now, except
Yeah, and they
Death
all
Stranding.
were received
Was
very
Death
well.
Stranding that
It
was
was
one?
Yeah, Death Stranding was right, yeah.
Fuck you, Death Stranding.
But we're not worried about Death Stranding. They have faith in that one. This one, I don't know. I'm very interested because it's a game that for reviews. Well, I could play it because I'm a Sony fanboy. I like exclusives because I like supporting them. So if that studio's good, they can grow and whatnot. And I like zombie games. But for me, I've always said too. I don't know when Last of Us Part 2 is coming out, so that might not have anything to do with it. I just thought this game should be out a lot sooner. Just to get, I think the further away they are from Last of Us, the better, because that is like zombies, or Sony's big zombie title. Yeah, they're clickers, whatever, I know, but undead people running at you, sort of deal. So, and I feel like they're still not showing me enough to get me excited. What I saw initially, it was just like a lot of action going on, but I want to see more of the world, and they just refuse to showcase this at any E3.
Mm-hmm.
They just I don't know what it is. So that makes me think that it is not the greatest game. I feel like they're kind of putting it out there to die, because I feel like if they had faith in this and this could be a next big solo exclusive for them, you would have saw us at the next few E3s. Even just an announcement to hold off, where now we don't get that. We just get an announcement on a Wednesday at 8 a.m. in the morning, oh, guess what, it's been delayed here, it's coming out April, whatever. So I am interested in this game, but I have no faith that it's going to be a great game. Maybe it could be a 6 or 7 out of 10 range, but I don't think it's going to be on your God of War, Sony, even Detroit level. I don't think it's going to be anywhere near those ones, So, which I know you didn't love Detroit, but I just feel like Days Gone's going to be more of a fire in the wind, and everyone's going to forget about next year when next year when Last of Us comes out, Last of Us.
Yeah, Days Gone's in a weird spot for me because I have a long list of games where okay, I know I'm gonna get this on release, and I usually do. Some games it's okay, I really like the idea, but I'm waiting for it to go on sale. Some games I'll just go on Twitch and watch a bunch of gameplay and see what kind of vibe it is, maybe decide from that. But Days Gone is one that I'm waiting for reviews. I want to see what people are saying about it, which is not something I really do when it comes for me to picking games, at least on release. But I really want to know if this game feels like it's finished, or feels like it's what they showed originally, if it plays that vibe that they showed 3 years ago. Yeah, because there's just been delays are always concerning. Delays when they're paired with no further gameplay or cool reveals, especially from the big Sony, is extra scary. So this game has from that E3. Obviously I ended up buying most of those games, with the exception of I think God of War, that they showed. And this one was on that list of I'm definitely buying this, but that has certainly changed. So yeah, I'm very curious for this one as well. It's a big question mark in my books.
I'm excited for it, the concept, but it's one of those things where, again, it could very well just be a flop with how little they show and how long it's been delayed. I think you guys summed it up pretty well, but I really love the scale they're going for with the kind of zombie apocalypse thing, because from the demo there was a lot of zombies at one time. And
Oh yeah.
I don't think you don't get that very often. There's the kind of small group of zombies, or there's they're scattered here and there. They go for. There's not nearly. It feels like everything's much smaller scale.
They were so dense too.
Where it feels like this kind of gives that a much more chaotic, sort of no hope sort of feel to it. The combat scenarios where you're always in a losing situation no matter what, and which is a cool I like that feel of desperation and like being scared, where you always feel like you're against insurmountable odds, no matter what like combat situation you go to, and there's always that chance. So it seems like that's sort of something that is going to be like from at least the demo, that is a core concept of what this game is all about. And I really like it. For me, at least, it wasn't like a huge part, but the guy, like, he likes riding motorcycles, I guess. And I feel like that'd be a really cool concept, more like a more open.
But I think he's a
world.
biker in the old
Yeah.
I
like a more.
I think it's more than just he likes bikes. I think he's probably.
That's kind of it.
Bikers are defined by it.
But I think it's a cool concept. What I'm thinking is it's kind of like a more open world where there's a lot of the traveling is like you're riding on like empty highways and stuff with your bike, and you go to these locations, and then you have to kind of get in, get out before a big horde comes. Then that kind of thing. And I think that's a really cool concept, and it seemed like a very I don't know. It just seems like it could do that really well.
Have you ever given?
Hopefully they don't throw fast travel in this game. I feel like that would kind of take away.
Yeah, I think every game has it now, right? Even
unfortunately,
even Red Dead. You don't have to use it though. You just don't use it.
Yeah, but the game isn't designed to not have fast travel. That's what's so great about Morrowind is the game's designed so that there isn't a fast travel. So like NPCs will give you directions and stuff. Games don't do that. Isn't that like in Red Dead though? If you turn the HUD off,
yeah, you can turn
certain
it off.
guys will like. Yeah, but that's a rare occasion where if you turn the HUD off, NPCs will tell you where to go.
Yeah.
That does not happen in other companies because they don't have those Rockstar dollars.
Yeah. What I was gonna say, Briggs, there's no zombies in it, but have you ever tried the Mad Max game?
No, I haven't.
You should, because that is lots of times where you're just driving somewhere and it's just like emptiness, and it's this huge world, but you feel completely alone because it's just ravaged. But then every once in a while, you'll just hear like a sound, and there'll be 6 trucks coming at you, like ready to tear you apart. You should try it. It's probably pretty cheap now because it's been out since 2015. It surprised me because I got on like Boxing Day for like $20-$30, and I loved that game. So
did that come out like after the movie?
Yeah, I think it did. I think it did. Because that came in the summer. I think that came in the fall. And I think it came out bad time because it was in the fall, and people were like, "I'm not gonna play this Mad Max game." And I'm not alone. It has like a nice little cult following.
Yeah.
So.
One thing though about being on Mad Max at this point is that Rage 2 is on the way, and it feels like Rage 2 is going to have that pretty
Same
good
pocket.
open kind of feel.
100%, yeah. So. It doesn't have the best thing I'd say about Mad Max is the vehicle combat, though. That is some.
I'll give it a look.
Yeah, if it's cheap enough, it's worth it. We're just speaking about that. In May coming up, Rage 2. I've said this before. I'm not a first-person shooter fan. This has my interest. This is a game, as long as it reviews well and has good word of mouth, I'll be purchasing. I don't know if it's day one, because you never know right now, like May and April, only 2 games. So there could be a game like a Last of Us Part 2, something that I'm interested in, or Death Stranding we've heard is maybe coming out in June. If that's coming out in June, then Rage is going to take the back seat. So that's why for me right now, it's in a prime spot, but I just feel like something else is going to knock it down. But it's a game that I could get on the next Black Friday, Boxing Day, a sale. I don't know if it's day one, because I'm not the biggest first-person shooter fan, but what I've seen just looks like madness. And I do enjoy a good first-person shooter if it grabs me, and this so far has grabbed me. And like we said, the Mad Max feel, it's kind of with almost like a Deadpool-ish type of humor as well too. So I'm excited for if it reviews well. So this is potentially day one for me if it all keeps going the way it's going. Very unique game.
Yeah, this one's really curious to me as well. I don't know yet where I feel. Like I don't know if I feel like I'm gonna buy this one day one, or if it's one that'll just pass me by. It definitely fits that kind of like realm of Bethesda games, not Bethesda game studios, but Bethesda, like, you know, the publisher, in terms of like being similar to Wolfenstein, being similar to Doom, in kind of just the way the combat looks. Like it looks like there's a lot of fun. Same like Dishonored as well. Like there's a lot to do within the combat system, the first-person combat system. But then this one just has a completely different world and atmosphere to it than the other ones. So yeah, I'm curious, but I feel like it looks really good. Like I can't say I've seen any trailers or any gameplay so far that's made me worried. Like it looks really, really fun, and that's the most important thing. I guess I'm just waiting for some element of it to just hook me, whether it be like some story element or just something in the gameplay loop that makes you like really tapped in when you're playing. I'm not sure.
Be story. I think story's gonna be pretty basic in this game. Looks like
it's more gonna be kind of locale exclusive, kind of like mini stories. But most of there's not gonna be any huge overarching thing.
Just survive.
It's just gonna be go visit each kind of location, experience what it has to offer, and it has its own.
That sounds good to me. Like I like that like that's very much like what Bethesda does as well. Is like there's not really like a great overarching story necessarily, but when you go to like some weird location and then there's actually like some story that has developed there, some funny characters. So that's interesting to me. I think it's just like that in between. Like how is that going to be interesting? Whether it's like just the travel sequences in this game, which could be really fun with really good like vehicle movement and combat and stuff, which I haven't really seen a lot of that yet. I guess. So maybe I need to see more of that. And that could be the element that changes me.
I guess like in the trailer, it looked like there was some cool stuff, but they didn't really.
There wasn't really any gameplay,
actually
right?
gameplay showcase. It was all just kind of like set piece sort of cinematic stuff. So, yeah, I'm super excited for this game. I really hope it just takes off. I'm a huge fan of the but recent Bethesda published games, shooter wise, like Wolfenstein, Doom. Huge fan of those two games. And so this one, it just looks like it kind of takes that kind of formula that they have. It has almost kind of like Doom, but then it adds a whole bunch of crazy, wacky abilities you're gonna have as well. Just from what they've showcased, there's so many different ways to sort of interact with everything around you. It looks like it has really cool set pieces. It's not just like go through the hallways and stuff. It seems like there's always like debris scattered about and things to make each sort of location. Yeah, a lot of outside stuff, and even the inside stuff looks like there's a lot of different ways to get around. There's like elevators and stuff. There's a lot of movement options to make the most of the environment, and I mean they only showed a couple cool abilities where you can like pull. There's like that thing that pulls people together and you shoot them. There's thing that like you could throw a disposable shield in front of you and that kind of stuff. It seems, I imagine they're not going to go light on that stuff at all. They're probably going to have that just the yin yang of just gadgets and different really cool ways to just make the combat exciting and fresh just constantly throughout the game. And they showcased a whole bunch of different locales as well, which is awesome. I love that there's going to be so many different sort of environments to go explore. So I'm really excited for it. That kind of wasteland, kind of crazy, doesn't take itself super seriously sort of style I'm a huge fan of that, and it seems super colorful too, which I love in those kind of games. So as I was talking about New Dawn, so this is like this looks amazing. I think this is definitely like maybe not on release, but I'm definitely like probably the closest to buying on release for a lot of this list.
June, Crash Team Racing, Nitro Fueled. I love Crash. I think you've probably heard me before many times after Crash came out. I said, that's next. I'm excited to put it in the gauntlet. I'm excited just to play it. I preferred back in the day Crash over N64, and that's a game, even I think it was a few years ago I played it. It feels like it still holds up. And like Diddy Kong Racing where I played that, I was like, oof. But Crash Team Racing is just wonky. It's bonkers. It's lots of fun. It's a Crash world. So I'm very excited. This is a day one purchase for me, no matter what's going on. Unless there's like a Death Stranding on the horizon. But it's a game that I can easily just plug in. Like Spyro, there's 2 games in there, 3 games. I'd want to play all the story. This is just, I'd want to race and do some messed up stuff. So
I probably won't get this.
Yeah.
I'm happy with Mario Kart.
Mario Kart's good.
Same thing doing, yep.
Yeah, I mean I've never played it, so I'm gonna finally get a chance.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited to give it a try.
Yeah, we're gonna be playing it.
It's something you talk about a lot. So.
Oh yeah.
The art style they have for like the remastered Spyro and Crash is fantastic.
Yep.
Same for this game, so it's gonna look great for sure.
So now I have a list of big games confirmed for 2019, but no official release date.
All
So
right.
we'll start off with this first one, Control by Remedy. They did Alan Wake. They did what was Quantum Break, right? That was the name of that TV one. Yeah.
And
So
Max Payne as well.
yeah. Oh right, Max Payne. What did they debuted this at Xbox's conference? I'm pretty sure,
I
right?
think so.
Yeah.
That's the one,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where like the gravity stuff was all messed up.
Yeah.
The trippy game. Yeah.
From when I saw that, I was like, I hope this isn't Xbox exclusive. Of course it wasn't, so good for me. This is a game, I'm going to wait on reviews just because even Alan Wake, I don't think I ever fully played it. I can't remember if I borrowed it from a friend or played at a friend's house for a bit, but I just remember really enjoying it and always like, I'm going to get back to it and really replay it one day. I never did, so maybe, hopefully a remaster can come around, like what they did with Heavy Rain, I'd like that, but if not, I don't even know, maybe it doesn't hold up anymore, but from what they showed with Control, I haven't seen any more stuff. I'm not sure if they put it out there, because if they have, I haven't seen it, but just from that E3 demo, that sold me as far as a game to put on my, wait and see. I always have the buys, like The Last of Us, Death Stranding. This is like on the, okay, maybe you'll get it, but follow it and then, wait. It's not a jumping with both feet. It's I'm going to dip my toes in the water first. But it looked really cool. It looked really trippy. I like games that are trippy. I'm a big fan of The Shining. and it kind of had that aspect as far as looking like she's kind of in a mental institution a little bit, but then she's using powers. I don't know what's going on, but I liked what I saw. So anything I don't know if they've said it's first person or whatnot, so that might.
I think it's third person.
Okay, so that helps with my interest. So yeah, it's on the radar for now.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Alan Wake. This one, for me, like, it entirely depends on when it comes out.
Yeah.
If it's right next to, like, another one of the big games of the year, it's probably going to be in, like, kind of that tier 2. But I definitely like to play it before the year's end. So I'm super curious about it, and I haven't actually, like, seen or heard anything of it since that E3. I even kind of, like, forgot the name of it, and I was stumbling around a few lists of, like, 2019 games and saw that one and was kind of reminded of it. But so yeah, I think another
just come out.
another
Like,
fire trailer would be cool with
Yeah.
tied with a release date. I think that would be nice. Maybe we can expect that at the start of next year or something, but or start of this year, I should say. We're in a time point.
I know, I've done that already too. When I was like, oh, not the next year, but the year after, I put a game in like 2021.
Sorry, yes, we are recording this in 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this one, it's cool. I mean, Briggs, you played Alan Wake as well, right? So
I sure did.
Are you looking forward to this one?
Alan Wake, just like how much I enjoyed that game is just definitely carrying into this one, which is why I'm excited for it so much. I'm really Alan Wake just has such great atmosphere, and they such like a new idea with like the flashlight incorporated into the combat.
Enemies, yeah.
And so I'm really excited to see if they can kind of bring that over into Control and make it more than just gunplay and then you can use cool abilities, but the cool abilities are like a huge focus with gunplay complementing the abilities in a way.
Yeah.
So I'm really, it looks really cool, and again, Alan Wake is just such a great game, so that's just gonna, knowing that is a thing, is really gonna carry this me forward towards this game. One thing though is that it's one of those games where I don't feel like I need to get it on release, and Alan Wake, I know I played like years after it came out, and I still like had a blast playing it. That didn't bother me at all. So I feel like this one, maybe I'll get it a year or two after on a sale when it's significantly cheaper. But I definitely have faith that it will be a good game. So I'll wait to see how it does at first, but and I'm in no rush to play it. But I do. It's definitely one of those games that's like I'm definitely gonna get this 2 or 3 years down the road at least. That's like the latest.
Before 2025.
Yes.
And then you have like 4 different Final Fantasies coming out. You got like Final Fantasy 12 Zodiac Edition, Final Fantasy 10 X2 HD.
You gotta calm down, Squirt.
Final Fantasy 9, Final Fantasy 7, which I imagine are remakes. So
Interesting.
yeah,
I have not played any Final Fantasy games, and I probably will never play any Final Fantasy games.
I have way back in the day, but that franchise I think has just passed me by now as far as my excitement.
Cloud's in Smash now, so I just get my Final Fantasy fix right there.
I didn't play him. I still haven't played him ever because
it's pretty OP.
Yeah. So, Dylan, you can start off because I have zero say. Fire Emblem Three Houses for the Switch. It's saying here potentially 2019.
Yeah.
I don't think that's been confirmed, but still, it's a big game up in the horizon.
Yeah. So Fire Emblem's interesting because like ever since. Funny enough, in North America, the first instance of Fire Emblem stuff was like Marth and Roy in Melee. That was like the introduction of who these characters are, and since then, like they've been pumping out games. Like there's probably been, I want to say at least 10 games, and I've played every single one of them that have released in North America so far, and it's been an up and down journey. The first one I played, Sacred Stones, is still my favorite on the DS. That game's fantastic. And then the two I really, really loved as well were Ike's games, him from Smash Bros, but on the GameCube and Wii. And those games were fantastic. I loved those so much. And then ever since then, there's been some good ones, like Awakening was pretty good, and the Shadow of Valencia, where the latest one was called, was pretty good. But then there's a couple kind of duds in there as well. But I was pretty disappointed when the Wii U didn't have like a Fire Emblem game. Obviously, I think, with like how time consuming those games are, it does make sense for them to be on a mobile platform, but still, like, why not have one that also comes out on the home console? I think it's necessary at this point. So I'm really excited for the Switch to get another, a fully fledged Fire Emblem game. I'm curious if the story is like tied to characters we've seen before, or if it's something new, which they seems like they mix it, like go half and half on new stuff, or bringing back old characters. Either way, I'm really excited for this just because of how good the GameCube and Wii Fire Emblems were. So I have I have pretty high faith that whatever happens, it's gonna be pretty good.
Just looking at other games here, just making sure I'm not missing anything.
Mm-hmm.
Breaks, you got anything to say on Fire Emblem?
Nope. I have not really played Fire Emblem games, just know the characters through Smash, but now that I have a Switch, sort of, it's something I'd be interested in.
Yeah, I mean, you love
Definitely
XCOM, right? It's
Yeah,
the
no,
same,
I
it's the same
love
like
that
strategy
kind of,
elements, and then it's like more anime
yeah,
characters,
those
so
more,
it's perfectly suited to you. You'd
I love that more kind of tactical kind of gameplay, and it's something that's always interested me, but I've never owned anything since like the Game Boy Advance, and it's just, yeah, I don't know. I've never had the opportunity to play it. Dylan's let me like play his for like 10 minutes at a time, and it's hard to get invested. But
10 minutes.
So yeah, it's definitely something that having a Switch like available to me to play games on, it's something that I'm definitely looking forward to.
Yeah.
Potentially giving it a try.
Oh man, that was awful.
A lot of maybes on this one.
This is a game I forgot of. It's called Man of the Medan. It's the studio behind Until Dawn. I just wanted to shout out because I was a huge fan of Until Dawn. I got on that like a year and a half, 2 years later. It was when it was a PS Plus game, and I love horror, and it was like a really fun choose your own adventure, so I want more of that. The only thing they've done to follow up that is they did like some VR Until the Dawn game, but it's not that. It's like you're in a trolley and you're like shooting stuff. So it's not what you do, but this is just like a choose your own adventure. You can pick who's gonna live and die. Rami Malek was in the first Until Dawn, so that's
Very
great.
nice.
Cool.
But yeah, it was really fun. So if you like the slasher horror genre, I would recommend trying that game, and then probably getting this game when it comes out, which is they don't have a date for. So cool.
Neat.
Let's see. We talked about Rage. Luigi's Mansion 3. So I'm starting off with this because this is easily my most anticipated game of all time. It could also be my most disappointing game because this is a game that could make me buy a Switch, but I always get the just as the great people have said in the world of Star Wars, I have a bad feeling about this because it seems like every franchise in Mario I love, they seem like, hey, Travis, we know you hate motion controls. I would pick a first-person shooter game any day over motion controls. I just never liked it. I like just having my hands in games. I go and work out and play enough. I have a daughter I chase after. When I'm playing games, I just want to sit down and play. I don't want to stand up and do this. I don't want to shake anything. I just want to fucking play. And I swear I got the worst feeling that, because we've not seen any gameplay, we've just seen a cinematic so far, and I'm so worried that's going to be like, oh, it moves your thing around and make sure you catch the ghost. If that's it, I'm not going to, like I said, I would play one of their Switches. Me and Taylor have had this feud about how I try to borrow his. We'd swap for my PS4 for Spider-Man. That's what I do. If it's a great game and none of that, I probably will buy a Switch just because that's a game I would love to play. That's a game I would actually stream because there's so much fun. It's like kiddie type of horror jump scares, but there's some fun moments in there. It's in my top 10. I think it's my 4th overall favorite game. I love that game to death, to pieces. It's such a unique concept, unique gameplay, a unique story, and I'm a big horror junkie, so it hits everything I want, and I love Luigi. So this game could be easily my game in 2019 or the most disappointing thing. So until I see gameplay, I'm like tentatively getting excited because I'm just preparing myself. Because Mario Party looked great for me, and I still haven't played it. I know there's some aspects of it that are really good that I hear, but it's still, for me, I don't like motion control, so it would never be a purchase for me. It's just something that I was really excited when I saw this trailer. Like, oh, we're going back to basics, and then they had to throw in some gimmicks. I worry they could do that with this. I hope not, but I am very excited for this game. But I'm still waiting. I'm holding back a little bit to get fully excited. So.
I can't blame you for that. I just love to see my man Luigi getting a big main stage game. He's the eternal understudy, and he does a lot of hard work that never sees the light of day. So I'm excited for this. I'm gonna replay the first Luigi's Mansion, probably early 2019 before the other games start dropping. Because I
should do a live stream. I would be so down.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Let's do it,
it's
man.
so fun.
I really want to play that game because I think I had it as a kid, but I don't think I ever played it a whole lot. I just kind of
Melee.
I have no idea why. It's probably Melee. That's probably exactly what it was.
Couldn't take that away.
I was just too hooked onto that game, but yeah, I don't know. It's kind of slipped through my fingers, but I'm gonna give it a go, and hopefully it still holds up pretty well in this day and age. GameCube, fantastic console. I still play it every day, so I'm sure I'll be tuned in.
Arguably the best console, I would say. Arguably.
I mean, I still use that controller like every day, even for
Great
new
controller.
Smash. So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this one I got to see some gameplay, as well when they. I'm sure Nintendo's gonna do a direct. I'm guessing sometime in January or February, and that's when we'll see Fire Emblem. Hopefully Luigi's Mansion. Hopefully we get gameplay for at least those two things.
Yeah.
If not, like a more concrete date, that would be nice. Because it's as a Switch owner now, I'm super stoked. There's a lot of great games on this console already, and there's just so many on the way. So I'm very happy.
And I want to mention before breaks go, because this is 3, I hope they take the first game approach, because they did a second game for the 3DS, and that had no story. The first one has like an actual cinematic story. Mario's been kidnapped, and he's in this house to try to figure out why. All these ghosts have unique story. Doctor, I always forget his fucking name, but he has a great story. Like, there's an actual fun story to it, like a Pixar, like, animated feel, where the second one was just you're going to multiple houses, like, busting ghosts, And I know that was because 3DS, so maybe they relegated that, but I hope this isn't that as well, that it's just, there's no story, it's just kind of like, have fun catching ghosts, and, so yeah, I just want to shut that up before, because I hate that it's called 3, but I guess it's technically 3.
I'm super excited for this game. A lot of it's piggybacking off of other people's excitement, but I have very fond memories of playing Luigi's Mansion, the original, for brief periods of time at our local ski hill when they used to have GameCube setups for the kids who, when they weren't skiing or at the end of the day, you could just like stand there in line and then you get to play for 10 minutes at a time. And then I remember I always played that game just enough to like really like it. But then it never felt like I actually got to the good parts.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited for it. I mean, I'll probably go back and play the original before this comes out. But again, this is like probably something that I'll be playing almost day one.
Nice.
Almost day one. Almost. Do
you guys own Luigi's Mansion?
I don't.
Okay.
I sold it at some point.
Okay. If anyone needs to borrow it, I got that.
Oh yeah. I will be at your doorstep picking it up next week.
You're
here right now.
Yeah. Can't take it now.
No.
2020. Gears 5, I got 0 to add for it. I hope it's good for that fan base, but yeah, it sounds like Gears 4 was kind of mixed, so I hope they have a better one. But I feel like Gears and Halo are in a really big rut right now, and I feel like they're kind of like we talked about a few weeks ago in our group chat, like Mortal Engines and the Kid Who Would Be King. Like, they kind of have that feeling of, like, these games, they haven't really evolved, so they just feel like more of the same of last era. So, who knows? We hear some stuff. Halo's also on this list. I guess I could throw that in right now because Halo Infinite, same thing. They've been saying we might take some new approach to that, and they officially said that's not a Battle Royale game. So, I'm not sure, but I think that's what, if these franchises are going to keep going, both Gears and Halo, they need some rejiggering. So
rejiggering.
Yeah.
Yep.
Briggs, take this away.
I'm honestly, like, for me, I tried Gears 4 and I played through the campaign and I played the multiplayer, but it just didn't feel as good as Gears 3 felt. And honestly, it just feels like after Gears 3, they've just been kind of losing touch with the series, and they're trying to make it more. We don't talk about that. It seems like they're trying to make it more mainstream and whatnot. They're kind of losing what made Gears as far as both the story and as far as the gameplay goes. So it's not so much. It just, I don't know. They're pumping it up for the sake of keeping the Gears title around, really. Yeah. And I'm not going to pick this up. After playing Gears 4. I decided, you know what, Gears up 1 to 3, that was my thing, and I'm happy with it finishing there. Same with Halo. I played a little bit of ODST, played a little bit of Halo 4, but again, like, I'm happy with my experience with Halo up until Halo 3, Gears up until Gears 3, where they kind of had the original ending to it before it's kind of picked back up and mutilated a little bit.
Master Chief is alive, and he's doing this.
Yeah, so I'm pretty happy with, like, the nostalgia of playing those games, and I still like playing with you guys sometimes on the Gauntlet. I love going back and playing those games.
You're always messing people up.
That's what I do. Why, but I think those games, like, on their own, they still hold up. The only issue is obviously there's not much of a player base because the new ones came back. But I think I don't know. I'm not a fan of these ones, and I'm not going to pick it up.
Dylan Musk, Skull and Bones.
Skull and Bones.
Bones and Skulls.
Oh man, with all the pirate games on the horizon, this one has got me jigged up, man. I can't wait to play this fucking game. I'm not playing this game.
Yeah, this is a notorious game. I argue with Taylor on our E3 stream just because I think...
Is this the one with the... sorry to interrupt you. With all like the pirates and the fantasy stuff also.
No, it's a different game. That's an Xbox.
That's what I'm talking about. There's a lot of pirate games.
This is just an exclusively boats, like a boat fighting game.
You can't leave your boat.
No. Well, there's a cutscene where you'll like swing the next boat, and then it's like victory.
Yeah, there's no like.
Well, there's the one where you have like your like docking area, but it's like a single player area.
It's like sea combat.
Yeah, like go to merchants and stuff.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You could watch our E3 live stream that. I was so excited because from what I saw from Assassin's Creed Black Flag, I love pirates, and I had heard that was the best parts. I'm like, okay, Ubisoft, that's smart. Just make a full-on pirate game. Take what people love about that Creed game, and let's spin off its own franchise. No, we're just gonna make a fucking $80 boat fighting game because they've said it's full price. It's coming out. I think it's rumored for next fall or something like that. So this game I'll never play. I just don't understand how you could anybody like. I guess if you really love that time, you love boat mechanics. But I just like.
It doesn't look like there's much boat mechanics either.
Well, yeah, boat whatever you love, whatever you could love about it.
You can do with boat mechanics.
For like a full price game, I just don't get it, and I am very, very interested to see how this game sells because I just don't know. I don't see the audience for a full price boat fighting game with nothing else. I think this could be a great thing you could have in a pirate game. You know, like if Rockstar made a pirate game, I can imagine. Oh, and there's this whole section where you can fight a boat. Like perfect, and there's a bunch of other stuff. Cool, but it's just a boat fighting game. It's like Red Dead Online. If you just go and play, like there's this one mode where all you have knives and you're going around and it's just you can only use knives last man standing. And like Red Dead just put out a game that was just Red Dead knives, and that's all it was. That's what this is. It's just a boat game. Like I hate the idea of this game. It just triggers me every time I see it, and part of me wants to do bad just so Taylor would shut the fuck up, and he's just always like, oh, people are gonna love this game. It's gonna sell so much. Oh man. But I guess
man, there might be an audience.
I just don't see it. But you know what? I'm very interested to see what happens when it comes out.
This game reminds me of Fractured Space, but also it's like really lame, like mutilated, disabled cousin.
Not what you want on the first date.
But like Fractured Space, for example, is like it's a space game where you just
is that the one we played?
Maybe I think
like the online one.
Yeah, and it's like you have like control of like a giant spaceship, like basically a capital ship, and it's like a 5-on-5, and you like just move slowly in your spaceship because spaceships don't move that fast relatively. Sure. And it's just like you have like the broadside cannons and like all the cool stuff. You have different classes you can do, and it's really cool. It really goes towards those people who enjoy that more tactical, slower paced, kind of long range fights. Mm-hmm. That it is a really nuanced game. It has a lot to it, but it's free to play.
Yeah, exactly.
And sure, you can buy content, so you can unlock all the ships right off the start and whatnot. But I mean, it's a fairly reasonable price for the amount of content. They release free content for it all the time, and I'm not really sure where it's at right now. I've always loved the concept, but they actually a new studio
They're making
just
Skull Bones.
A new publisher or something just bought the rights to it or something. Nice. So there's still pumping out content for it. So I'm gonna turn this into a big show. Fractured Space. Go check it out. It's a really cool game.
Most anticipated for me.
And but this reminds it's like the initial idea of it is like that's cool, like that kind of combat, but with pirate ships. Mm-hmm. But then everything just feels like. It just doesn't feel like pirate ships shooting cannons at each other, you know? Like, they have health bars above them, and it's just like, the cannons, like, hit them, and the health bar goes down, but nothing else happens. And it just feels like this game lacks, like, anything that makes it feel like an actual ship fighting game.
Yeah.
And, I don't know, it's just too bad. It really is.
I remember this Battleship game I used to play as a kid on my computer, and that was my boat fighting game, I think, in my life. I don't know if I need another one. What is the name of that third pirate game? That Xbox.
So they just
showed
the Game Awards.
That one's already out. There's a third one that was
showed the Game Awards, right?
Yeah. Whatever that one's called. That one is the most interesting to me because it's you have boat fighting, but you also have a fully functioning. Player character that you can move around, you can do stuff. There's also just fucking dragons and castles and stuff. Like that just feels like a much more full project. Whereas, I mean, this is I guess like you're saying, it's just focusing on one thing. But that thing isn't really that interesting.
It's not
to me.
like that complex.
I like tight controls. I don't like really just awkward controls where I can't control something precisely because it's like boat.
I'm trying
not
to
for
find
me.
Not for you.
Not for me.
What
is it called?
I'm trying to find. While I'm finding it, Break's talking about Wolfenstein: The Young Blood. That's coming out.
Wolfenstein: The Young Blood. Yeah. I haven't actually looked into it too much, so
it's got co-op.
I just like bullshitting off of what I first heard off of it. but years ago. But Wolfenstein, just great shooters, really fun. And this is to the new Colossus what I believe the Old Blood was to the New Order. So it's sort of like a 20.
Whoa, that's some Star Wars shit right
forward.
there. Yeah. The first blood, the New Order.
Whisper that in my ear.
To give that kind of context, the New Order came out as like the full price Wolfenstein game, rebooting the series.
Sure.
First one that was published by Bethesda and done by Machine Works, I believe it was, or Machine Games. I think it's Machine Games. Anyways, so they came with their full price thing. And then a little bit later, they came out with a $20 or maybe $25 sort of expansion on it, and it's its
Could
own.
you play that without the original game?
Yes, it's its own standalone thing,
Right.
and it was a fun little throwback to the old school Wolfenstein games. Whereas instead of being like really huge story, going to all these different set pieces and following this character through this whole like new like Nazi Germany thing where they won the war, going to the moon and stuff. There's all that crazy stuff. And then, but the old Wolfenstein games were kind of just like you go through this castle, navigate your way through, you're fighting bad guys and stuff, pew pew, and then you fight the big boss.
Killer. Yeah.
And you're just killing Nazis, really. And so in this game, the Old Blood is kind of a throwback to that, where it's just like, it's very simple. You just go to this castle.
You said the Old Blood? This is the Young Blood.
Yes, I'm talking about the Old Blood.
He's
Okay.
good.
So the Old Blood is just like a $25 standalone thing where it's like you play. It's a different. It does tie into the main New Order, but you don't need to really know any of that. It's just kind of a fun take. You just go into this castle. There's some wacky situations. It kind of makes fun of itself a little bit. And you go, and then there's there's literally Nazi zombies in there. There's literally grammar Nazis if you listen to them talk to each other. If you listen to the little fun dialogue things they put in, I really love these games. But it's just like a fun little additional experience if you love the New Order.
Sure.
And
Like a
so I
spin-off.
believe this is it's kind of like a spin-off. So I believe this is what this is going to be. The Young Blood is going to be another less expensive kind of addition where it kind of adds on to that sort of Wolfenstein experience. But I'm super excited about it being co-op. I know there's like, depending on which character you're playing, you're able to do you have different like special things you do in the missions. So I haven't been keeping up with it a huge amount. But I'm really excited for it. I'm currently playing through the new Colossus. It's a little late since it came out last year, but I'm really enjoying it. So I'm excited. I'm definitely I'll probably pick this up on whatever sales is closest to it, because I've really enjoyed the Wolfenstein games thus far, and I don't see why this one would be any different.
Nice.
Dylan, that pirate game was called Atlas. That
Right.
was an adventure and then a survival game.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Last one I have on my list, then Dylan can take over. Well, I guess last two, if we quickly want to say anything more. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 is coming out, but we kind of talked about that. We had a whole cast about
We've
that.
talked about it a lot.
So I'd say go back 2019. We have a whole half an hour, 40-minute
Let me go
cast
back to
on it. But
2019.
yeah, of course. But I'm excited for it. I got my holdups, but I'm excited to see what happens with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is the last one. There's not much saying it because we've really had no fanfare. This is a game that I'm expecting to bomb big time. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Now this game for me has so many red flags. One, you got EA, who's just been killing it with Star Wars the past 2 years.
Killing it in a bad way.
But this past E3 was the reveal. We had heard rumors we had talked about it all over the web that EA is going to reveal their next Star Wars game. This is going to be their non-Battlefront one, and rumored to have a single-player campaign. So it was obviously Star Wars fans are rabid. Star Wars games, we haven't had, I think, maybe since Force Unleashed, a real soul-player game. Mm-hmm. So fans are very excited. And what do? They go to the developer in the crowd. They say, "Oh, you're making a new Star Wars game." And he says, "Yeah, it's called Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order." And no logo, no nothing, no fanfare. And they just go to this guy in a crowd, and he just says, "Yeah, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order." To me, that told me everything I need to know about this game. Is this a game I might purchase? Probably, because me and Taylor do a spin-off show, so it is content. I'm a Star Wars fan. Unless this game just gets fucking ravaged by critics, but I think it's just going to be a game that's just fine. I'm hoping this could be the biggest surprise of the year, that maybe it's just EA and they're bad at marketing it and they have a hit on their hands, but I don't know, just for me, with it feels like no fanfare, and we never even saw even a cinematic trailer.
Yeah.
We know nothing about this game, and they've said that this comes on the first half of 2019, which I doubt is going to happen, but if it does, then what's going on? So I don't know.
To it.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how this one pans out. But it's for PC, Xbox One, PS4. So yeah, so that game is apparently coming in 2019.
apparently.
Dylan, I know you won't be playing this, so Briggs, you got anything to add on potential
It's
stars?
kind of like Star Wars is like excitement, EA is like lower excitement, and then it's like single player experience. Excitement goes up a little bit.
Takes place in the
But,
dark times. In between
the
3 and
dark
4.
times.
3 and 4, very original.
It's always 3 and 4. It's always in between 3 and 4. So for me, it's kind of like I really I enjoyed the Force Unleashed a lot. I played the first one and the second one. Really cool concept for the games, and again, takes place between 3 and 4, and it really kind of bridges that, and it follows the
secret
point of a
apprentice.
Sith apprentice. Rather than for a Jedi, but you still experience kind of the fall of the Jedi Order just from a different point of view than you would expect. And I think that was they did a really good job with that, but I don't think we need to keep visiting that.
No.
Two,
not
I
at
don't
all.
think we need to visit the Fallen Order, like the fall of the Jedi Order again. And there's a lot, as you said, a lot of red flags with this. They didn't show like anything at all. But because it's a Star Wars game, and that alone has me interested in it. But it's definitely I'm super sketch about it.
Yeah, I'll be excited if I don't get it for Taylor to buy it. Me to go over and watch him play it. You know.
I'm glad I didn't buy this.
Yeah. Dylan must take it away with the games I.
So I'll mention this one once again. You can go back to our 2018 Game Award thing if you want to hear more about it. But the Outer Worlds is Obsidian.
That's 2019?
That's 2019, yeah.
Oh, sure.
The Outer Worlds, which is made by Obsidian, the guys who made Fallout New Vegas, and teaming up with the OG team of Fallout 1 and 2. This game just has me super excited. That reveal was fantastic. Since then I watched this, it was just like a sit down, it's like a half an hour sit down with some game critic guy who got a chance to play the game and talk with the devs. And just all this, there's this really cool party system in the game where you have 2 allies that you can get, and those kind of swap out. So picture on a Fallout game, typically you'll get 1 companion who can follow you around. Yeah. In this game you'll have 2, and then you can change what their roles are in combat. So you could have 1 guy who's kind of your bruiser, your tank up front, and then maybe you could be the sniper in the back, and you have a healer or something like this. But the cool thing is you can switch that, and you can make someone else the leader, so you're just part of their party instead. I don't know exactly how that works yet, but there's a lot of little details in this game, and I have so much faith in this game because of playing New Vegas, which is one of my favorite games of all time and easily my favorite Fallout game, because of the deep RPG elements to it, and you really feel in the game because your actions have an impact on the story and the characters in the world around you. The demo was fantastic. I am super excited for this game. This is easily a day one purchase for me, and it was such a surprise when they showed it at Game Awards. I'm so excited for this game. Briggs.
Neat. This game looks super neat. Really excited for it. I haven't actually had the chance to watch the big sit down thing that you did. Yeah, I've been wanting to.
Even if you just skip through it and just watch a thing here or there, they talk about a lot of just little details, and I mean those are always important to me.
I mean, it just looks like a great time. I mean, it's got that new frontier out in space on a planet vibe. I'm a sucker for that. It's got those heavy RPG elements where you really make your own choices, and I'm a sucker for that. And it seems like super vibrant and sort of happy and excited vibe, but also in a very dark way again, and I'm a sucker for that. And I have this huge I feel like I bring this moment up a lot, but it's one of my favorite moments of gaming that I've had is the fact that at the start in the trailer, at least it showcased you have to choose between these 2 people, and you can just shoot one of them. Yeah. And I assume mid cutscene, you just it's not even really a cutscene, that you have control the whole time, and you just choose to shoot someone. And it always throws me back to when I was playing Singularity, and at the very end it's you and these 2 characters, and it's you have to choose to kill one, and then you have to choose to aim the gun at them. You have so many options. You can choose to just not shoot either of them, and then eventually just after a certain amount of time it just goes to cutscene, the game ends, and eventuality where you left both of them alive. Or you can shoot one, and then the other guy, then one of the other characters goes and talks to you, and there's oh man, you made the right choice killing this person. Now this is the future that we're gonna build together. And then as they're saying that to you, you can shoot the other person too. It doesn't tell you can do it, and it makes it feel like the game's done, but it's you shoot one person, the other person is super excited about it, then you just kill the other person, And the fact that you can just do that as like a thing.
Yeah.
I remember I didn't think I could shoot him because like the gun was still out. And I was like, it's one of those moments where it's like you click, but it just doesn't shoot because you're aiming at an ally or something.
Okay.
And so I was like, can I shoot him? I don't know. I'm gonna try and shoot him? And so I shot him and he died. I was like, what? This makes no sense. And it wasn't game over or anything. Like it ended. It made like it was a separate ending that you could get through that. And whenever a game has that sort of thing in it, I always like get that nostalgia from that moment. I'm just like, this is gonna be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So the
I think
fact
you'll have
that
moments like that.
that's like a thing you can do in the Outer Worlds is just like, I'm into it.
Yeah.
And then that kind of dark humor that the person like talking to you has about it is just like, sweet. I'm in.
Yeah.
I love this.
One more thing I like about you, kind of remind me of, is that it doesn't have a voiced protagonist, which I think is fantastic because it just opens up so much more dialogue options and like possibilities. And then it also like doesn't make you feel like you're playing a character that the game like pre-made for you, right? That was my big problem with Fallout 4 is like no matter what you do, your choices, like you are essentially kind of this one character that has decided this is who you're going to be in this game, which is kind of taking away like the intrigue of games like this, right? So yeah, no voice protagonist. You don't need to fuck around with that. It's not necessary. Don't do it. And I'm glad they, didn't just like follow in suit with that because that's kind of been popular lately. You have anything to add on there, Charles?
I'm really excited. Yeah, for me, it's just release window. I'm a big fan of RPGs. I'm a big fan of making my own choices. KOTOR's my second favorite game of all time. Really, it's probably tied with number one. So I love games like that. For me, it's just I need to see. I just have my fingers crossed that I got a choice between first and third. If I get the choice, then it's probably a day one for me too. Because I was really impressed with the trailer as well. I just remember as I started playing, like, this looks great, looks exciting. I like everything I'm seeing. If it's first person and it's still great, I still may get it. It might just be something maybe down the line, depending on release window, or I may go back and forth. I'm just not big. It's just not my go-to for first person. I love third person. Because I'm a movie guy, I like that cinematic experience of the third person. So we'll see, but it's definitely a game that is probably, it's on the potentially buy list, not on the radar list. It's on a potentially buy. So it looks great. I think they got a big hit on their hands too.
Yeah.
So, and especially with Fallout 76 and Fallout 4 kind of mixed with getting mixed for 76 and then reverse mixed with Fallout 4. Like, it was a success, but there's a big vocal group of people that are excited for this because of, it seems like Days of Old, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's where they can really capitalize on, you're not getting it from the source, but you can get what you want over here.
Right.
And it's a perfect time with 76 to try to pull in some fans, hey, we're gonna, be the man of the people. So
well, it's for the people that still really, like, first and foremost want that RPG experience, right?
Well, the original creators of Fallout 2, right? So it's
Yeah.
like if you fell in love with that brand, the first chapter of that, not talking about like this generation, then you will probably be more inclined to give these guys a shot. So I think they got a chance at a home run. So I'm very interested to see when that comes out. And because we know it's 2019, but we don't know when. I've been trying to figure that out. If they're going to try and throw the big dick on the table and go fall, but I don't know. So I'm interested to see how the whole thing rolls out next year.
Yeah, wherever it lands, I'm gonna reset my schedule to be in line with that one.
Same day as Fire Emblems Switch.
Oh yeah, Fire Emblem, you're getting the boot.
Boom, Fire Emblems.
Realistically, I'd probably
back to your three houses.
I'd probably buy both, but then
one would fall.
Three houses would sit on the shelf for a week to play Outer Worlds. Mm-hmm. Just a couple more. In the Valley of the Gods is a game I'm looking forward to. It's the next game from the people who made Firewatch, which is just a really interesting kind of one-off, shorter story / adventure, but just very, very narrative focused, and a very beautiful. It fits in that experiential type of game, as opposed to having like some deep system of gameplay where you're learning things and then applying those and then getting to the next level. It's more just like a really set narrative, and combined with some fun exploration, features. And then also like Firewatch was just unique because it's like, when are you ever gonna play a game where you're just like some guy who's chilling in a watchtower watching out for fires? Like, when are you gonna just be like a hiking guide essentially? Like, it's kind of a unique experience type of that, like, just because of the focus for it. So In the Valley of the Gods is their next game. I'm not sure what the gist of it is, but it'll likely be a game I'm gonna be getting because I really like their style of game.
Yeah.
It's something that I'd like to support and see like what they have next, even if it's something that's a little more outlandish than this, which was kind of like a down to earth sort of story. Yeah, Briggs, you played Firewatch as well.
Sure
do
did.
you feel like? I mean, I don't even know if they've had like gameplay, although gameplay isn't really a selling point for this game.
In the trailer it was just, I mean, you could call it gameplay in that it was like the player following around the other character, right? To some degree, but I mean,
right.
Showing gameplay in this doesn't really do anything because it's just a walking simulator.
Yeah. So where are you on this one? Like, you really like Firewatch?
I'm excited for it. I mean, I'm a sucker for narrative driven kind of those simple shorter games because it's so hard for me to like a game like The Outer Worlds. Like I can maybe play one of those every couple of years just because it's so hard to dump so much time into like a huge open ended kind of RPG.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to just kind of take a seat back and enjoy a more cinematic experience almost. But you still have like control. You still got to go visit those locales yourself and experience the story from that first person kind of view rather than a movie where the story's told for you. This one, the story is told for you, but it's much more you get from the story what you put in. And there's definitely more to it than just like following the main narrative. You can do exploring, and there are clues that kind of add more to the story. So I'm super excited for it, and I mean I love Firewatch, and if there's more of that kind of feel that you get, then I'm 100% in.
Yeah, I don't know when this one comes out necessarily. I don't think these last couple ones don't have release dates for them as well. The other one is Animal Crossing, which they did say is 2019 in that reveal at the last Nintendo Direct. I'm curious. This one isn't like a guaranteed buy for me. I'm gonna wait and see. I mean, I'm sure it'll be like. I guess my question is, what are they gonna do differently? Because there's been, I played the original. Actually, there was an original Animal Crossing on N64 actually, but that wasn't released in North America. So I played the original one here, which is on the GameCube. That was when I got my GameCube. I had that game in Melee, and I was set. Like that's all I needed. I just probably played those. I played those two games like just a ridiculous amount. And since then I've played New Leaf, which is the 3DS Animal Crossing. I really like that one as well, but it had more like online functionality. Like you could go to other people's houses and things like that and trade and more elements like that, which was a nice change. So I'm curious to see like what this Animal Crossing does new, because it's like a pretty simple like kind of game, right? And it's more like a slice of life sort of game, really, where you're not like you don't necessarily like play it just to get to the next level. You're just kind of playing just to be in another world and have some simple fun. And so I don't know. That's why like it's not necessarily a game that I need to buy on release, but who knows if like whenever their next Nintendo Direct and they show some gameplay of it and talk about like some of the new features, who knows? Maybe I could be sold and I could get it day one. But I like, once again, like this is the first Animal Crossing on home console since that GameCube one, really. So I'm glad for it to be back there, because even though it does fit very well with like a portable sort of system, obviously the Switch is portable as well. So I think it'll be the perfect kind of game to just the Switch's maneuverability, whether or not you're playing on the big screen or just chilling in bed watching a movie, something, and have it going on the side. Like I think it is a perfect game for the Switch. So I'm excited to see what they have going here.
I've never played them, so not me.
It's one that I can't really sell to someone. I wouldn't really want to, right? Like it's just I have such a deep love for it because I played it as a kid, and I think it's like that simple love for it that really is carried with me.
I think it's a great. I haven't really played it myself much, but I really like the idea behind it, and I think for some people it's just such a great experience to have. But I mean, it's not something I'll be picking up. Yeah. But
I think that's why I love there's 2 Animal Crossing characters in Smash, because their movesets are just so fitting for those games. Like it's so honorable to the series that like they really did a fantastic job with that. My last 2 are kind of Derek Yu's next creations, who made Spelunky most notably. So Spelunky 2 is coming out in 2019. There's actually a podcast that I just discovered a couple weeks ago called the Spelunky Show, and they're doing like a weekly or bi-weekly, I think, episodes where they have like different guests on, and they're pretty much just talking about Spelunky, like talking about the first one, and they've played. A couple of them have played at like demos and stuff like that. And they even had Derek Yu, the creator, on for an episode. They're all like game devs themselves, so it's a really cool perspective. But it's a really fun podcast just because it's just a show based off them just loving Spelunky, which is just such a simple like passion thing, right? And it shows through. So I just wanted to shout that podcast out as well. But yeah, Spelunky 2 is on the way, and I'm super excited for it. My only concern when I first saw the game, when like they first had the gameplay trailer at the, I guess it was a couple months ago. I can't remember where it was shown. Was that PSX?
It was in the PlayStation's pre-show last year when they did that. Remember last year when they did the.
That's where the gameplay was.
Oh, maybe not the gameplay.
Yeah,
sorry, just the reveal.
gameplay was like sometime in, I want to say October or something.
Yeah.
Maybe it was November, but anyway, my first instinct was like, oh, this is interesting. Like the art style is simpler than the previous game, but I think I've watched like a little bit of gameplay now and watched the trailer a couple more times, and it's kind of grown on me, and I really like it. It's more like hand drawn, and it's like Derek Yu is like he's a fantastic artist, like primarily I would say, and you can really just see like his creations kind of come to life in that sense, and it feels it's like less cartoony, but I'm really liking that art style now. And whatever this game does in terms of like just adding more mechanics, more fun shit to do within the game, and more variety to it, which is obviously what roguelikes are all about. I am Spelunky is one of my favorite games of all time. Firmly slotted somewhere in my top 10. I love that game so much. So whatever happens with this game, I have so much faith that it's going to be fantastic. And then another game that Derek Yu and some other developers are working on is a game called UFO 50, which is just like an assortment of 50 kind of smaller games packaged into one. So there's like a couple that are short little like RPG stories that might be like a 2 or 3 hour sort of adventure, and then there's some that are just like little sports games like maybe like dodgeball or something like that. There's like one that's like just like a little fighting game that they made. So there's just 50 different games in there. Whatever it is, like I'm super excited for it just because it's from a bunch of creative minds that are kind of working together and meshing their styles. It has like the classic pixel art aesthetic that I love so much. So I'm super excited for that one, because even if half the games in there are like good, then that's $25
worth the purchase.
Good little games there. So and it's not like a full price game either. I think it's like probably around the $30-$25 slot range as well. So very affordable and just a lot of content. So I'm really excited to dive into that one, because that's just a lot of content, right? Like you'll be whipping that, like turning the game on like a year later, and like, oh, I haven't actually played this one yet. I'm gonna try this one out. So those are my last two indie kind of game shoutouts for the year.
Sweet. I've got two I'd like to throw in there as well. I'm going to start with The Pathless, which was premiered at
Without pads.
VGA. Pathless.
Without pads?
You said pads.
No,
you probably did, but I heard
I said pads.
Yes, no
I
pads.
said it very subtly.
You sure did.
Uh-huh.
So that game, it doesn't have a release date for 2019, but it is going to be released in 2019. It's from the creators of Abzu, which is also a very beautiful game where you just scuba dive and stuff. I haven't actually played it myself, but I have it for free.
Subnautica is a good diving game.
Indeed. Mm-hmm. So, but Pathless it really caught me from when it was premiered. It just looks like it has such fluid and beautiful, very smooth movement. And it looks like that's going to be a huge focus of it, and along with that, just the aesthetic of the game. And it seems like it has a huge open world. There's not a whole lot to say about it. I don't really know. It looks like you hunt like these large monsters, and you have a hawk that follows you around and helps you and contributes to the movement system. So it looks really cool. I'm super excited.
Wait, it's not underwater?
No.
Oh, this whole time you were describing everything, and I just assumed they were underwater.
Last game.
And when you have your hawk, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. So you are on land. I guess the trailer for it, you like land on this island with a boat, and then you don't.
That doesn't have any paths whatsoever.
No paths, I guess, and then you find a hawk, and then you go and hunt these large beasts and stuff.
Ooh.
But it looks really cool. It looks like the movement's like very fast, but you have these huge open areas to move through, so it doesn't necessarily it doesn't feel like you're rushing anywhere.
Okay.
But
it
looks
essential
awesome.
that the scuba diver is in the water where you're on the island of.
It could be.
Likely.
It could be a shared universe.
Oh,
wow! Crossover, the biggest gaming crossover of all time.
But I'm super excited for this game. I'm going to be following it very closely, and it looks like it might be one of those.
But not too closely.
Very closely.
Okay.
Not to get in trouble.
I'm there at the studio.
Out the window.
Anyways, yeah, I'm super excited for that one. It looks like it's probably going to be a bit of a cheaper game. I think the Abzu wasn't too expensive on launch, and this one might be maybe $20-$30.
Nice.
So it's definitely one I could very well pick up on release. And then the second game I wanted to show out, or do you guys want to say anything on Pathless?
You said it all.
No,
Sweet.
no.
I haven't seen the game,
No, me
so
either.
I don't have much to
Okay.
say.
Just heard about it.
I will definitely give it a hard Google and
Do it,
watch
man.
some gameplay or a trailer or whatever they have going for it.
The second game that I want to show is Scavengers. It was also showcased at the Video Game Awards. This doesn't necessarily release in
The Game
2019.
Awards?
Yeah, Game Awards,
Video
breaks,
Game
yeah,
Awards.
yeah.
Does
They're
any
different.
award any
Those
non-video
don't
game
exist.
awards? Tell me that.
I'm just saying like that's the name, right?
Okay.
Like they don't call it like it's not like the movie Oscars, right? It's just like the
Why not?
Oscars.
How do I know what Oscars they're talking
I
about?
don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, so at the Game Awards, this one is also announced. It is, instead of having the actual release date in 2019, you can sign up to play test it in 2019. So I imagine it feels like it's going to be one of those a little bit like lower compared to the rest of the other games. So,
Right.
but I feel like it's gonna be one of those games sort of similar to how like PUBG, it was so big as like an early access game, and then it kind of just like slowly melded into its full like 1.0 release. But it felt like it didn't really feel like there was a huge change between version like 9.5 and 1.0 and kind of stuff. You just kind of play with it as it goes along. Like
I
it's
see.
very playable earlier on in the development, and you just kind of follow things along, and then they have their like official release.
Yeah.
But
They're not going to be releasing
it doesn't
PUBG
feel
2,
it's not like there's the official release and then that's it. It's like they just keep going to whatever version they're on. So it feels like this game might be sort of similar to that. So that's why I kind of want to bring it up in terms of that it's going to be kind of playable, and then as it just kind of continues development, they're just going to keep adding more things all the way through. It looks really interesting. There wasn't really any gameplay shown or anything, but it's sort of like a co-op survival experience sort of game where it seems like there might be some PvP involved, and it has a very sci-fi kind of winter post-apocalyptic aesthetic to it, which I'm a sucker for, so I'm really interested in that. It's from this pretty small dev team called Midwinter Entertainment. It's their first game altogether, but there's about 23 devs, I believe.
Cool.
And it's one of those games, all the devs come from different teams that have worked on games like Gears, in the Gears series and the Halo series, God of War, one of the original not original God of Wars, but one of the other God of War games.
God of War
not
2.
the most recent
One of
one.
the God of Wars.
But they if you look on their website, they have a huge brochure of games that
accolades.
all the devs have worked on before coming together for this team. So it looks really cool, and I'm gonna keep my eye on it. I've signed up for the playtesting, so you'll probably hear from me later on about this game.
Mm-hmm.
But it's another game I just want to give a shout out because I'm excited for it.
Cool.
Indeed. That's all I've got.
Nice.
Boom, that's your 2019 video game preview. If you want to follow along for the next year, please do. Please subscribe, like, review. But best thing to do is follow social media on Twitter and Facebook to get updates of what's coming out, what's happening. If you want all our links, just go to the description down below, whether you're on podcast services or YouTube. You got everywhere to subscribe, everywhere to go. We got lots of stuff even dropping in 2019 off the bat. There's reviews happening, there's retros. The Golden Geeks are almost upon us. Nominations are coming, and those podcasts are always fun. Those are some of our longest ones. They're debate filled, but it's gonna be a good year to talk about 2018. So
2018, wow, what a time, right? Great.
yeah, I'm
good.
so excited.
good.
Some
But-
say best year.
But
Some
thank you
say.
very much, ladies and gentlemen. We promise you, next time when you hear from us in that 2019, it will not be boring.
Later.
Later, nerds.